This is a point of grief for Bruvva. I've been watching the game for some time now, and it seems that there's a massive disrespect that's going on. A while back, I would have said the disrespect was to the older generation, especially Pele. You go to some sections online, and what you find is people saying he was playing against farmers. Nowadays, you got trained professionals and all of that. And the reason I call that disrespect is because it's actually not logical when you go through with it. If everyone back in the day was a farmer, Pele was playing at the same time as Di Stefano. I don't see them saying Di Stefano was playing against farmers. Di Stefano, Puskás, Dixie Dean, all those guys, they get acknowledged as legends, as the greatest. But you talk about Pele and they say farmers. Talk about Eusebio, they say farmers. I'm sure you can see the pattern already. The problem though is that this is a doubly bad argument. Firstly, it's inconsistent. When it's Pele, they say it's farmers. When it's Di Stefano, they don't say it's farmers. So firstly, it's inconsistent, being made by certain sections of the web. But secondly, it doesn't even carry through, even if it was consistently applied all around. It doesn't carry through because if everyone was a farmer back in the day, so was Pele. That's the thing with days. Whatever is achieved on any single day is a reflection of talent. Because the circumstances are largely the same for everyone. Not completely, but largely the same for everyone. You got access to basically the same resources. You apply your talent, and that's what makes you stand out. Talent. So it's a matter of, even if there were no professionals back in the day, there were, by the way, you got multiple clubs in the top leagues who were founded before 1900. Pele was in the 50s, 50 years after that. After major clubs were founded, 50 years. A game was long professionalized. Rules were still changing. To this day, rules are still changing. If you're going to say Pele's achievements don't count, then you should also take out Messi and Ronaldo's achievements because they came before VAR. Would you do that? Yeah, I doubt it. Game was long professionalized. People were training, applying themselves as best as they could. If the opponents back in the day were farmers, so was Pele. He stood out while also being a farmer, not having specialized training. He stood out. Same circumstances. It's not like he alone got special training while everyone else was a farmer. So that point, even if it was applied all around, it's simply wrong. It's incorrect. Doesn't deal with the issue, which is that given any set of circumstances, he stood out. So a while back, I would have said a lot of disrespect was going to the old guys. People discounting their records and so on, what they achieved. And really quite a bit still does. But now, I don't know if it's to counterbalance that or whatever. You've got some disrespect coming through to the younger guys, the newer generations. Obviously, Vini and Neymar get massive disrespect. But this generation in general is not being respected. They've got some good achievements under their belt. And of those good achievements, I note 4 or 5 of them who must go in the conversation for greatest ever. So to begin with, I'm going to list my top 5. First, I put Pele. Second, I put Messi. And here's how it is. If Pele and Messi are rated 10 out of 10, the next best person is immediately a 5 out of 10. Those two are just insane. Absolutely insane. You talk about players carrying a team. They became a team in one man. Go watch Messi's games. He can defend. He can properly defend. He goes back. He gets the ball. That's when Messi won me over. I'm a defender. Messi won me over when I watched. And I saw him go back and get the ball. And then he runs through your entire team. At times I felt like something stupid was happening. How can one guy just run through a team? But when I saw him go back and get the ball, I acknowledged him. But I also noticed that Pele did something similar from the few highlights that we've got. He did something similar. He went through the team. He didn't do it with that swerving dribble that Messi did. Messi and Maradona. He did it a bit more with brute force. Could knock the ball about, some dribbling. But it was more brute force. Fact is though, he still got through. And in the day when there were no red cards and all of that. That makes any dribbling that you can do back in the day immediately more impressive than any dribbling you do today. I'm a defender. Go back to my kindergarten, they know me. 20 years ago. Hard defender. You dare touch a player in the box today, it's a penalty. Well, they try to go hard sometimes. I've seen some tackles which should have been penalties not given. I'm seeing quite a lot of them actually. They're trying to go hard nowadays, but really we reached a time when you touch them, penalty. And that's also why I actually appreciate modern defenders more than old guys. Because old guys were allowed to tackle. You say Maldini was a hard man. Yeah, he was allowed to be. What do you think would happen if Maldini played today? Puts in a tackle, gets a red card, banned for half a season. No, not to disrespect him specifically, but I'm just pointing out the stereotypical issue that we are facing. Anyway, so any dribbling done in yesteryear is worth twice as much as dribbling done today, because nowadays you've got this massive fear that if you touch a player in the box, penalty. There is that. And I think it's a bigger factor than anything else when it comes to deciding the interaction between an attacking player with the ball and a defensive player without the ball. I think it's the biggest factor. So, even though Pele wasn't as pure a dribbler as Messi and Maradona, the fact is, he did it at a time when it was harder to do it. And he got the numbers of goals that he did. That's a bigger achievement. And of course, he did it with the national team. That's mad. Massive achievement. That. Because, especially nowadays, academies and all of that, I suspect it was true back in the day as well, but I'm not sure. Players are trained to work in a system. We use the term system baby. They are trained to work in a system, play in a certain way that fits the system. It's why you get some players bought for huge amounts of money. They come to a new team and they barely make a mark because they fit a system. At least that's one of the reasons. The system thing. So, for this reason, while club teams will play a higher level of football than a national team, for the simple reason of a national team is a random collection of players who haven't had a month together. Even if you literally put together the World 11, they would lose to the best individual teams, because those teams are actual teams. They work together. The best 11 is just random names. Very good names, but they don't have the teamwork factor that they've got in their clubs. Teamwork is a huge thing. For this reason, I feel that clubs have long been much better than national teams for a very long time. So when Pele does it with the national team, that's a huge thing, because it's harder to do it with the national team, with 10 other strangers, so to say. Very hard compared to club football. Those achievements, now I will grant it to you. There is talk that Garrincha and others, they did the heavy lifting in his first World Cup and in his third World Cup. He never really starred in any of the World Cups. I will grant that. There is a thing though. Some players are quiet support. I'm an introvert myself. In most scenarios involving others, I'll be at the back playing my role quietly. Trying to play an important role, but quietly. Won't be the main star of the show. So there is such a thing as a quiet support. Don't have to be the flashy player to be the best player, to be the most important player. But even if there wasn't such a thing as quiet support, sport is physical, it's easier to spot the important players. Even if there wasn't such a thing, it is interesting that when the guy stops playing, the World Cups seem to dry up. It is interesting. So I ask myself, if Pele was born today and played in the modern day, how would he do? I'm looking at certain strikers who are scoring horrible amounts of goals, and I'm thinking to myself, that's the system that's getting him those goals. The team has basically concentrated all their goal-scoring ability on one guy. That's why it's getting so many goals. It's not naturally just getting the goals. If Pele had modern systems behind him, I think 1,500 goals is within reach. Maybe even 2,000. So that's why, even if you make the farmer's point and you say, you know what, the fact is though, the level of football they had was just lower. I don't disagree with the level being lower. I actually like that idea. After all, what's training about? What's development about if the level is not going to rise higher with each generation? You know me in other talks, you'll know I talk about the rule of generations. The next generation learns from the previous one, combines what they've learned with their talent to become even better. I don't mind the idea that in terms of pure objective levels, the previous generations simply played at a lower level of football. I don't mind that. Although I do have some arguments that disagree against it, I don't mind the idea. Problem is, we're judging the individual. Take the individual, put them in any set of circumstances. How do they perform? Pele would outperform. They'd have to change the rules of the game because of him. If he was around today, they'd have to change them. Anyways, I don't think the gap is that huge. Like I said, I've got arguments against this idea that the next generation is better. In favor of the newer generations, the one point I've got, which is solid, is that once Ronaldinho started doing rainbow flicks and all of that, if Neymar comes through and does the same thing, it's not as amazing. Why? Because of that same learning factor. Neymar saw it from someone else, had a chance to train with it, and so he's basically starting from a position where the move is already functional. He can simply take it to the next level. But if Ronaldinho had not done the rainbow flick first, could Neymar have invented it like Ronaldinho did? I'm not sure. Even if he could, he no longer has that pure chance to show his pure creativity because most of the useful moves have already been invented. So the first generations, they get the benefit of having a chance to invent moves. The following generations, they get the benefit of having the chance to take those moves to their pinnacle. But I don't think the gap was that big because in any tactical setting, there is this matter of matchups. Certain playing styles are do better against others. When you've got a possession-heavy team, counter-attacking is very good. When you've got a team that uses route one football, counter-attacking is not so good because they don't exactly leave spaces at the back when they attack. So I think that football goes through a cycle of playing styles. And each generation has their dominant playing style. Then the next generation comes up with their own. then the next generation will come up with their own, and then the generation after that will go back to the first playing style, because it cycles around. For the past 10 years, we've been saying that tiki-taka seemed to have upgraded football as a whole, because teams now are much better at basic teamwork, keeping the ball, building up play, making sure that every time they get possession, the chances of something good coming out of it is much higher. Whereas back in the day, it was like they just hoof the ball around, get it to the best player and hope he can do something. Well, look at modern football. No, I mean current modern football. Look at the games that we'll play today. Look at the kind of football they play. It's going back to that hoofball. Because the passing game has reached its peak and there's no more that can be gained from it. So, the hoofball, which basically bypasses 80% of the opposition team, just getting the ball forward, letting a few players fight for it. When you're not the team that has the better passing, that is your best bet for winning. It's cycled around. So I'm not even sure, because of that, if the gap was that big, or if we simply said this during the last 10 years, during an era when it was the era of passing, which looked very good compared to hoofball. And we simply thought it was outright better when it was simply a different style. So I'm not even sure if the level of football was much higher. And even if it was, for the individual players, the rules regarding red cards and all of that mean that for an attacking player, life was 10 times harder yesterday than it is today. For an attacking player. The balance of the game, the rules themselves, have shifted to support attacking players 10 times more than they did back in the day. The balance of the game. So, when I try to balance out all my thoughts, I think Pele is the best, better than Messi. I don't think the gap is huge, but he's definitely the best. Then you've got Messi. Some say he had a rival, I say he did not. 10 times better than the next best player. Clean business. Surely I don't need to make arguments for Messi, but I will anyways. 2014 PSG Barcelona quarterfinal, I think. Messi is supposed to be injured. PSG is winning 1-0. Messi comes on injured. Immediately, the very flow of the game changes. Barcelona becomes dominant. Within a few minutes, Barca have scored 1-1. They're going through on away goals or something like that. An injured Messi coming on makes that difference. A non-injured Messi, as a football fan, as a thinker, I compare styles. I consider variables and factors. But never before have I ever felt hopeless than when Barcelona with Messi was playing. I was just utterly hopeless. No, I thought that they could ever lose. He became a psychological barrier in my mind. The only thing I hold Messi back on, again, the complete player. He could go back and get the ball. Then he dribbles past the entire team. Then he can either score or pass it to a mate. Honestly, you could put kids alongside Messi, and the kids would get 10 goals because he'd be passing the ball to them against an open net so many times. It's a team sport. He's the ultimate team player. Gets the ball back, can pass as good as the best. Look at Modric, look at De Bruyne, the guys we acknowledge as passers. Look at Messi's passes. He is as good as them in passing. Toni Kroos, Pele, Xavi, as good as them in passing. Some would argue Xavi is a top 10 based off of his passing, while Messi is as good as Xavi. So what do you do when you've got a guy who is as good as another top 10 player, and yet he has yet another skill that is even better than the one that top 10 player has? That's Messi. So when I say 10 times better than any other player, I'm speaking objectively, based on what I saw with my own eyes. Pele, Messi. Then there's a bit of a gap. I call it half a gap, because for at least 2 seasons, we did get a guy who was basically 70% Messi. 2017, 2018, 2019, Mohamed Salah. He was 80% Messi. Not quite at that pinnacle top level, but 80% Messi. Arguments can be made for Neymar and Luis Suarez. I think when they got those 40-goal seasons, it was alongside Messi. I don't give them full credit. I think Suarez is a monster for the ages, by the way. Deserves a lot more respect in terms of pure football playing ability. Purely getting his team over the line. I think he's a monster. But you're talking about something else here. I consider Salah to be the bridge between Messi and everyone else on the list. So in third place for me, Mohamed Salah. Then in fourth place, so I said there's disrespect to modern players. Some are questioning whether Salah is the greatest from the Premier League or not. Calling Henry possibly better. No, the gap is huge. Salah is on another level. It's a whole other level. As an individual, as a team player. Whole other level. It's a huge gap. It's just that we've got the guys from the 90s and 2000s, they had charisma. They had stage presence. That causes us to be very nostalgic about them. And you know what? I value charisma and presence. After all, you're competing with other people. So whatever it is that helps your team, that's a useful quality. But there is also just pure football ability. And the modern kids, they've got that for days. So I say Salah is far ahead of Henry, Michael Owen, whoever else. Besides the Ballon d'Or and such awards being rigged, basically, they are influenced by outside forces. There's business interest in there. We know capitalism is involved everywhere. In politics, for goodness sake, a humanitarian sector. Policies are not decided by what's best for the people. They are decided by business interest, because the business will threaten to pull out of your country. There is such a thing as lobbying. You think lobbying would only happen in the humanitarian sector of politics and would not happen in sport, which is worth billions from t-shirts alone? Never mind match day ticket sales and all of that. That's delusional, I'm sorry. Ballon d'Or is influenced by those things a bit too much. I ask myself, it's simple, how do you judge Ballon d'Or? If you took out one player from any single team, or from football for a season, which player's absence would have the biggest impact? That's how you judge Ballon d'Or, because you're judging who's the best. What makes you the best? It's the impact you have on the field. You are a working man paid to do a job, which is to help your team win. So which player contributed the most towards their team winning, towards their team gaining the points that they did? That's why I say, if you removed one player from football for the season, which player's removal would have the biggest impact? That is your Ballon d'Or. Simple as. And we directly saw this in 2018 Champions League final. Ramos knew what was up. I don't like Ramos. I don't think he's all that. But as a man paid to do a job, he knew what was up. Salah was going to eat Real Madrid up. So, went in, broke his arm. He broke it on purpose. But as a man, I don't blame him. He was paid to help his team win. That was what he needed to do to help Madrid win. That's also when I started really hating Madrid. It was very immoral. But he did what needed to be done. Took out Salah from the game. Suddenly, Madrid wins. And even as they win, the Liverpool goalkeeper, he had a howler of a game. Carriers. I never saw him again after that. No, I did see him playing for some other team. But I remember his name because of that game that he had. So, remove the goalkeeper having a horribly bad game. The final score is 2-1. Keep Salah in the game. 2-2, 3-2. I'll say it would have ended 5-2 in Liverpool's favour. Keep Salah in the game. It's really simple. That Madrid had Ronaldo, Messi's supposed rival. He wasn't a rival. Messi is far better. They had Ronaldo, they had Marcelo, they had that crossing set-up header on goal. They had Bale, Benzema. They were a top-level team competing with Barcelona. For Salah, almost alone, to terrorize them the way that he did, demonstrates he was on another level. He should have won Ballon d'Or that season. Simple as. Because it was his removal that made the biggest difference. That is proof that this is the best player. So, I consider that Salah, prime Salah, 3/4, 80% Lionel Messi. So he's in third place, he's the bridge. And then in fourth place, another player I considered to be 80% Messi, N'Golo Kante. I've never seen such performance. The guy is everywhere on the field. He's intercepting, he's fighting. That is a man's man right there. I've never seen such performance. Everywhere, fighting. The thing that Messi does as an attacking player, Kante does it as a defensive player. He's all over the field. Messi dribbles the whole team. Kante intercepts the whole team. No player has defended the way N'Golo Kante defended. So for me, he is fourth. Either tied with Salah for third or he's fourth on the all-time list. Dead or alive. N'Golo Kante. Then we get to Johan Cruyff. You should notice I'm missing a certain name here. Yeah. I'm going to explain that not too long from now. Then we get to Johan Cruyff. I've seen a few highlights of him. Oh snap, I forgot Maradona. Yeah, I think Maradona's better than Salah. Firstly, he did it with the national team. Secondly, he then did it with Napoli. Thirdly, he's got testimonies. Now, I know testimonies can be manufactured. If you don't know that, you need to grow up. Testimony can be manufactured. I'm pretty sure before these interviews where you see multiple players talking about one guy and they're like, he was the difference between heaven and earth, most of them are given prompt. They are told, praise this guy. In not so many words they are told. I mean, we get told these things at school and at work. You are supposedly interviewed, but you already know what you are supposed to say. Not your genuine opinion, what you're supposed to say. But the testimonies that we hear about Maradona on the training ground, on the pitch, they say, for pure talent, he's as good as Messi and Pele. Just that one World Cup, could have been two, but one World Cup did an excellent job with Napoli, but 2 seasons, I'm not satisfied. There should have been more output. I want more output. Pure talent, he's as good as Messi and Pele. Pure talent. What he can do with the ball on his feet on any day. But he didn't do it throughout all the days. One World Cup, 2 seasons with Napoli. I want more. When Pele, Messi and Cristiano are going on 1,000 goals, I want more. You're a man paid to do a job. I'm judging you based on the job that you can do. What Maradona showed, pure talent is there, but the output was not, compared to Messi and Maradona. And by the way, Messi should have 2 World Cups. I'm going to get to that at the end of this. I'll put Maradona ahead of Salah because of the pure talent. It's just too much in my opinion. And he did have some output. 1 World Cup, 2 league titles with Napoli. That's huge compared to any other player. But when you're talking the best of the best, Messi and Pele did a bit more. I have to put them ahead of him. So it's Pele, Messi, Maradona, Salah, then Johan Cruyff. Johan Cruyff, a few highlights and testimony. The testimony is that he took the game. That thing I said when I was talking about Pele, when I started, when a player can just take the game and it's them. Cruyff did that as a regular practice. The skills with which he did that, the pure output from doing that, isn't as high as the guys I've already mentioned, but the consistency with which he did that, taking the game, it's too much. And the few highlights I see, they exhibit a mind which processes the game differently. It processes the game in a way that is a level above everyone else. It's like everyone is thinking, with the ball at my feet, how do I beat the man in front of me? But with him, it's like he's thinking, with the game as it is, where should the ball go in order for my team to win? The best passer in the game for me is Mesut Ozil. The best assistant is Luka Modric, both in their prime. What I saw of Cruyff tells me he's exactly halfway between them. He's got the special passes of Ozil, but he's also got the end goal utility of Modric's passes. And he just made it a regular practice to take the game and own it. So, after Pele, Messi, Maradona, Salah, I put Cruyff as fifth. Then comes the biggest inspiration for this post. A player that I think is being most disrespected. Well, there's also the social factors behind his disrespect, but it riles me up. My passion is ignited. 6th place, Vinicius Jr. I put him ahead of Neymar. Put him ahead of Ronaldinho. I put him ahead of even Nazario. Now, prime Nazario. Let's talk. Prime Nazario. Prime Nazario is equal to Cruyff, in my opinion. Equal or just behind Johan Cruyff. But we didn't get much of that prime. In my view, he wasn't injured by an opposition player. He was injured by himself, his own playing style. That's basically, imagine you've got a world's strongest man competition. One guy lifts 100 kilograms with one hand. Then some thin guy comes through, puts every muscle in his body to maximum output, lifts up 150 kilograms. And then after that, he gets injured because he pushed his body too far. Do you then say he's naturally stronger than the guy who lifted 100 with one arm? Or do you say he's not naturally stronger, and in order to get output that surpasses that other guy, he pushed his body even further, and that's why he got injured? I mean, sure, he got tackled, but his play style contributed to that. So for me, he's the one player whom I charge with his own injury. I said, Maradona did not give me enough years of output. But we know the reason why, and that reason totally outside of football. Personal issues. So I can't properly put down his football for it, because it's not like he was gaining some special power from sacrificing his natural normal life outside of football. No, it's not a direct derivative. It's just separate issues that affected each other. With Nazario, the reason we did not get the years that we wanted from him is because of his football game. So that speaks to his football game. It has a drawback to it, and I charge him for that. So, pure talent, I put him alongside Cruyff, but overall football, I put him below Vinicius. So, my 6th place is Vinicius. This one is simple. This guy understood something. In this life, you have to hustle. In this life, a man has to sweat. No one sweats like Vinicius Jr. sweats. Every game. I mean, half of what he does is his dribbling. But the other half, it's pure sweat work. He runs up and down the wing. I'm a defender. Put me up against Messi, I've got an idea in my head about how to defend against him. I would lose, but if my nephew was a prodigy in defense, I would teach him, and he would one day reach a level where he can defend against Messi. I've got the idea. But for Vini, I don't. Because the thing he does, it's like he hyper-specialized all his potential into being a winger. So overall, he's not as good as your Messis and your Maradonas. But on the wing, he is unmatched in all of history. No wing player has done the wing like Vini Jr. does the wing. Firstly, he hustles you to hell and back. As a defender, I would never want to face Vini because I do not want to sweat the way that I would have to sweat if I was facing Vini. The pure effort that he puts in, I don't ever want to face that. By half time, I would need a heart pump. And then, the team gets me a heart pump, even gives me some pills on the side that they shouldn't be giving me. Suddenly, I'm coming out in the second half, I'm fresh, let's go. You know what Vini does then? Then he does his dribbling. I have never in my life. Firstly, The first time I saw a player get marked by 3 or more guys was Lionel Messi. Secondly, they put 4 guys on Messi and they still lost. He still got through them. I thought to myself, we will never see this again. But I see it every day, every game day with Vini. They put 4 guys on Vini, he regularly goes past them. With Vini, it's an unwritten rule of the game. If it's you and Vini, there's 2 outcomes. Either he is going past you with the ball, or it's a penalty, because you just have to take him out. Go watch all his games in the last 4 seasons. Those are the options. Either he goes past you, or you take him out. No other option. It's reached a point where if a player gets the ball from Vini and it's clean, I am more surprised than anything else. It's the last thing I expected. He has reached that level of wing play. So I say, of all the players on this list, the one player that I would never want to face as a defender, it's Vinicius Jr. I would not want to face him. Not at all. When he takes you out wide and you're getting close to the line for the goal, the ball going outside, and there's this one-on-one that he does. He's got this move that he does. I've been watching games on TV. I see it on camera, but I don't know what it is he does. He somehow gets the ball to swerve around the defender while he swerves around in the other direction and he's gone past the defender. He does this so often. I still don't know what it is he does. It's so quick. It's just swish once through. It's like, I don't know what he's doing, but it works. So Vini is so effective on the wing. And of course, unlike the modern kids, he's not selfish. After getting past the winger, passes the ball to the team striker, they score. They gave the Ballon d'Or to Benzema in 2022. They shouldn't. Because you're not judging from the World Cup. Benzema wasn't there, right? And they didn't even win anyways. Or was it 2021? Well, whichever one. They gave it to Benzema. They should have given it either to Courtois because of the saves he made. He reached the pinnacle of pure goal saving in that Champions League. Or they give it to Vini because he was the engine of the team. Those are the 2 options, not Benzema. Benzema ate from Vini's hard work. You look at every team goal, especially at every Benzema goal, and you ask, who played the biggest role here? You replace Benzema with any other player, never mind a striker. They are converting 80% of the chances he converted. There's a few where he just showcased his talent. But 80% they are converting. You replace Vini with any other player or winger, only 10% of those chances are getting to Benzema to begin with. Vini was the biggest factor in their attack. Then in 2024, it was no contest. He reached his peak in 2024. He was untouchable. He was a terror on the field. 2024 was when I looked and I realized with Vini on the wing, there's 2 options. He's got the ball at his feet. Either he's gonna go past you or you have to foul him. There's no other option. 2024 Vini was the peak. Well, that if you want to talk pure dribbling, that thing he does when he's one-on-one with a defender, that is peak getting past another player. Besides Messi swerve dribbling, that is peak getting past another player. Besides that though, obviously Ronaldinho and Okocha, they are the peak dribblers. You want to talk effectiveness. Messi going straight at the opposition, straight on goal, that's peak effectiveness. Vini is like 30% Ronaldinho, 70% Messi. In terms of he's effective first, then he uses the dribbling to take that effectiveness through the ceiling. He gives you the output that I've been talking about. Nazario had talent, Maradona had talent, but I'm not satisfied with their output. I want more. Just purely in the years. I just want more years from them. That's all. Vini gives you pure years. Gives you the years, monster of a fella. The one player as a defender I would not want to face because I've really got no plan. I'm sitting, I'm thinking, what could a player do when they're up against Vini? I don't have an answer. So he's my number 6. Then, number 7, I put Cristiano. Obviously, that's very low compared to others. Why? Because he started at United as an equal, I say, to Vini. Didn't dribble as hard as Vini, but he scored. He put in the effort as well. If you don't like sweating, you don't want to face Cristiano at United as well. Don't want to face him. But I think a lot are supporting Cristiano because of what he's supposed to stand for, which is be healthy, exercise. Honestly, I think Cristiano has contributed as a humanitarian to young men's health. He's half a hero in that regard. But here, I'm talking pure football. In terms of pure football, after United, he went to Madrid. At Madrid, his pure wing play dropped. And honestly, I blame Messi for this. I think he saw Messi and he saw that he can't compete. So what can he do? Now, Cristiano is another guy who got it right. He understood what a man has to do. You're not here to play dandelion. You're here to make money for your family. To make money, he made a brand of himself. Then, and this is what I love him for, he made that brand about fitness and effort. That's what I love him for. But in order for that brand to make it in capitalism, you have to be the actual best in your field. So he's got to compete with Messi, but he clearly can't compete. So what do? You find a big deal in the game and you appeal to it. What Cristiano saw was goals. Nowadays we complain that they look at goals for Ballon d'Or. They don't actually look at what the player did on the pitch, how they got the goal, the teamwork. Well, that's Cristiano's fault. Because he took his brand forward using his goal scoring. So, I think for the authorities of the game as well, they saw you're going to get a lot more fan interaction, people buying shirts, if you manufacture this rivalry, even though one guy is clearly much better than the other. If you manufacture the rivalry and all that comes with that. So, honestly, in my opinion, from 2009 onwards, every single Ballon d'Or goes to Leo Messi. If you talk purely who is the actual best player with the ball at their feet, no one touched Messi. In 2013, Manuel Neuer came close. In 2020, Lewandowski was scoring like a madman, but I don't rate him too highly because it was the Bayern machine. In 2018, Modric had an amazing season, but like I say, Madrid shouldn't have even won the Champions League. Salah was the better player. They had to break his arm. So Madrid basically cheated to win the Champions League. For pure football, no one gets close to Messi throughout the years until 2019. Salah gets close, but he doesn't reach the actual level. From 2009 to 2019, every Ballon d'Or goes to Messi. All of them. But anyways, Cristiano realized he has to go for goals. It's the only thing he can do to make it look like there's a rivalry. But here's the problem. That's when I started hating him. Because following Madrid, I noticed that in order for him to get his spotlight, to build his brand, the team has to drop their overall teamwork and just force everything to go through him, for him to be the final man on the ball. Now, he could do things. He had excellent shot-taking ability, possibly the best shot-taker ever. Yeah, he might be the best shot-taker ever. Pure shots. Hard shot, straight on goal. Lewandowski is more accurate. Messi has the swerving shots, but the curling shots, I mean. But Cristiano with the power shot and with that swerving ball in mid-air, that was an asset. Yeah, I rate him the best shot taker. But to get his shots, there were times when a teammate was clean on goal, keeper was out, basically facing an empty net. Cristiano goes for goal, trying to go past the keeper. That was an ugly form of selfishness. I cannot forgive it. So the team has to become worse in order for you to become better. If I'm a team owner, I'm paying you to help my team win. Ronaldo actually took Madrid backwards slightly with his selfishness. That's the opposite of helping us win. You're making us overall weaker. It's like, imagine a team is worth 90 points. Of this 90 points, each player is worth 9 points, and maybe one guy is worth 10 or 12 points. What Ronaldo did, he took Madrid from a team worth 90 points to being a team worth 75 points, but he becomes a player worth 20 points in exchange. He profits himself at the cost of the team. That is disgusting to me. He's like a detriment to the team. That is disgusting. But his shot taking, his work ethic, and his header taking, his combination with Marcelo with the cross and the header, that is legendary stuff. Still a very capable player. Just that I'm disgusted by forcing the rivalry, sacrificing the team. I'm disgusted by that. So I put him 7th. Then I walk into the territory of speculation. I've heard things about Baggio. I've heard about Puskás. Eusebio, Spider-Man, and I'm not sure. On one hand, I think of the years. When I think of the years, there's a certain Luka Modric who has to be in the conversation because he was the best passer and he had fight in him. He could fight in the midfield. For 15 years running, didn't dip in level. As an old man, 40 years old, when he leaves Real Madrid, who can buy anyone in the world, Madrid becomes a worse team. Right now, Madrid needs 41-year-old Luka Modric. There is no one else in the world who supplies the way he supplies. I consider Modric Neymar had the pure talent, but he didn't produce the effectiveness. They say that he didn't want to be Messi's shadow. If there's one bad thing to Messi and Ronaldo, they overshadowed so many players who are actually Ballon d'Or level. 2010, Sneijder was Ballon d'Or level. 2012, Terry is worth talking about. Well, it's the Chelsea defense as a whole, really. Well, no, Chelsea were lucky in that final. Bayern should have obliterated them. 2013, Robin and Ribery. Ballon d'Or level, clean business. 2014, Di Maria. I said, Argentina should have 2 World Cups. Messi should have 2. You know what happened in 2014? The greatest disrespect ever. Normally, I consider Salah not having Ballon d'Or as the greatest disrespect. But this time, it's Di Maria. 2014 Di Maria was the supplier to Ronaldo. In a team with Ronaldo, with Ozil, if I remember correctly, he was the most important player in that team, the biggest difference maker. In a team with Ronaldo, he was the better player. Then they go to the World Cup, Argentina. In a team with Messi, he was the biggest difference maker. The pure effort that he put out on the wing, hustles the defender until they get tired, then puts in a very decent cross. He was the best player. I was very mad when I saw the result. When I saw that Di Maria did not play, they claimed he had an injury. I'm not sure if I believe that. But if Di Maria played, even if he was injured, I guarantee Argentina would have won. He was the difference maker. I don't know what happened in 2018. You get to 2022, again, he was the most important player. They gave it to Messi because of his name. When I watched with my eyes, I saw Di Maria as the main guy in Argentina. He was the guy who, when the team opposition was locked down, he would hustle, force a way through, force a ball into the box. He was that guy. He was the most important player for me. So, on one hand, similar to the Salah situation in 2018, when you take him out, the team which was dominating suddenly loses. So then, obviously, he's the main guy. 2014, Madrid. That Madrid is the second or third greatest team ever put together, in my opinion. In 2014, he's the biggest part of Madrid being Madrid. Argentina, the reason they didn't win is because he was taken out. That's my view. So, he was the best player in the world. Messi was more capable because he was just another level of footballer. But in terms of pure output, he should have won Ballon d'Or 2014 cleanly, even including Messi and Ronaldo in the picture. 2015, you can talk about Neymar and Suarez. They did well. That 2015 Barcelona, first or second greatest team ever put together, in my opinion. Take out Messi. I think Bonucci of Juventus is in the conversation, because that Juventus team, that's another top 5 team. The Juventus team and the Atletico Madrid teams of those 4 years, 2014, 15, 16, 17, they're in the top 5 greatest teams of all time because of who they lost to. They literally lose to number 2 and number 3. And sometimes they actually beat them. They have to be top 5. Can't say much for 2016. I think N'Golo Kante, Riyad Mahrez did amazing work. Yaya Toure, he was another monster. 17, I don't have much to say. 18, Salah is the best, then Luka Modric. 19, Messi is the best, then Salah. 20, still think Messi is the best, but I can see why you'd want to give it to Lewandowski. 21, N'Golo Kante. 22, I'm not sure. Yeah, I go with Vini. Either Vini or Courtois, 22. 23, Haaland with the numbers was insane. I was very happy with Bellingham, but I think the numbers were just too much for Haaland. 24, Vinicius. Current 25. I've got some thinking to do, I'm not sure. But if you take out Messi and Ronaldo, the remaining players are Ballon d'Or level. Whoever would have won the Ballon d'Or then would have been as good as the best in history. So a lot of players get overshadowed because of Messi and Ronaldo, but they are actually very good. Luka Modric is one of them for me. Honestly, I would rate him as the best midfielder ever. Yeah. It's him, it's N'Golo Kante, it's Yaya Toure. Best midfielders ever. So, for number 8, I can put Luka Modric. Number 9, there's Zidane, there's Ronaldinho. Obviously at their peak. And Ronaldo as well, at his peak. One of those three takes number 9, the other takes number 10, the other takes number 11. That's my all-time top 10. And as you see, I've put in a lot of the modern kids. Vini, Kante, Salah. Definitely there. Then there's the goalkeepers. For goalkeepers, my personal vote for best ever is some local player at a team you probably haven't heard of. Objectively speaking, he's the best ever goalkeeper. Better than 2013 Neuer. Better than even him. Better than 2022 Courtois. Then you've got pure shot stopping. 2016 Oblak, 2018 Handanovic. Best pure shot stoppers. I have to go with Neuer. Yeah, I think Neuer, I'll put him equal to Nazario. Neuer gave us more years, but even in his prime, both in their prime, he's not far behind. Good enough as a shot stopper. And then there is the defending work he did. That's having, with Neuer, you had 12 players in your team because you had a goalkeeper and another defender. That's amazing, should not be overlooked. So I round off with Neuer. Although, as I said, there's a local guy who's actually the best goalkeeper ever. I just think the modern guys, in an attempt to preserve tradition, in an attempt to not lose ourselves to flashy things, we're disrespecting guys who are actually that good. Salah, Vini, Kante, and Neuer, they are that good. In my opinion, they deserve more respect and certainly make my top 10 of all time.